Today we are going to create a Zwanky skirt. A Zwanky skirt is a zero waste skirt. That's right, we are not going to give away a single inch of fabric to the landfill. We are going to use all of it. So in this demo, I'm going to show you how to use up your scraps, how to use up that 2-yard piece of fabric you have left over in your bin of fabric that you just don't know what to do with. You can make it into this skirt here. So I'm wearing one today. There's one right here on the dress form. And then the half scale one here is actually made out of scrap fabrics. So come on in, join us, and let's start creating the Zwanky skirt. Now I do want to talk about this one here that has all the different fabrics in it. So with all these different fabrics in it, this one really was just a bunch of rectangles that were sewn together. And the way we cut it with the Zwanky method, it ends up with this really cool paneling feature. So I'll take it off the dress form, we'll lay it on the table and take a closer look at it. And if you guys have any questions throughout the process, just go ahead and leave them over in the chat. So if we take a look at the fabric here, you can see how the design has this really nice paneling on it. You can see that the black on the sides also ends up with the black at the top of the waist. And if we look at the plaid, we have a panel in the front, and then we have some panels on the side. And then when we're wearing it, we end up with this really cool handkerchief look with all of this blocked paneling. Super fun. So this method is a great way to use up those scrap fabrics. You could just sew all kinds of strips of fabric together, and then when you cut it up, it ends up in a really cool design. But if you just have a big piece of fabric that you want to use up, I'm going to go over exactly how to put all those marks on the fabric. And this pattern is free. We created a calculator, if you will. So there's a Zwanky skirt calculator. Let me grab that here for you. So if you go over to the website, sew.ac/Zwanky, you will see this little skirt calculator here. And all you need to do is choose your units. So I was using inches for mine, and I'm doing a little half scale demo today. So my width of my fabric is 22. Obviously your width of your fabric is probably going to be 45, 56. You always want the width of your fabric to be bigger than your waist measurement as well. And then you're going to put in your waist measurement and then the skirt length that you want. And so when we put in the skirt length, this is going to be the shortest part of the Zwanky. So you're going to notice that because it's handkerchief, it's got some longer and some shorter points to it. This shortest point at the front and the back is going to be the skirt length. So those longer points are not accounted for that skirt length. Those are just kind of what happened when we use this Zwanky skirt calculator. We get that cool handkerchief. And the angles can be different on everybody depending how wide your fabric is, what size your waist is, etc. And speaking of waist measurements, so this design does have a fitted waistband with a zipper there. But if you do not want a waistband with a zipper, you don't have to have one. All you need to do where your waist measurement is, put in your hip measurement plus a few inches and create an elastic waist in it. So you can do an elastic waist with this skirt. Just make sure you're putting in your hip measurement plus a few inches when you're getting to the waist size. So the waist size is going to be your hip size. Hopefully that makes sense. If it doesn't, just leave it down below in the comments there and we'll clear that up for you. Okay, so when I put in my measurements today for my half scale one, my fabric width was 22, as we saw over here. And I put in all these measurements, and then it gives me all these measurements that I need. This is the only thing I need to create this skirt. So it's telling me I need to cut the length of my fabric, 23 3/4. The waistband is 4 inches wide. That's the same for everybody, no matter what size you are. The waistband length And then the Zwank distance, this is the really important number that we need to create the skirt for 0 waist. And the seam allowance on this project is 5/8 of an inch. So we want to keep that in mind when we're creating it. So let's lay out some fabric and go over how to put all of those measurements on a piece of fabric. So I have a piece of fabric here today that I'm using for a half scale one again, so that way we can see it on the table. Okay, so on my fabric here, I have the width of the fabric at 22, and then I've cut my length already to the 23 3/4. Now, the first thing you want to do is cut off the waistband. We want to get the waistband off of it. And it's going to go from your selvage to your selvage, or if you've created your own fabric, it's going across the width of the fabric. So I'm going to cut off the waistband, which I've already chalked out to 4 inches wide. And you might be wondering, you know, the width of my fabric is 45, but I don't have a 45-inch waist. Maybe your waist is, 30 inches. What are you going to do with that extra long waistband? Well, if you check out the YouTube video, there's some creative ideas on what to do with the extra fabric in the waistband. You can create little pleats on it, which we've done on the one here on the sample and back. Or you could cut off that extra fabric, make a little rosette, or you could make like a tiny little pocket to stash your key or some goodies in as well. So you can still create a 0 waist skirt with that longer waistband. You just got to figure out what you want to do with that extra fabric there. So now that we have the waistband all cut out, I'm going to set that to the side so we can cut the rest of the skirt and go over that Zwank distance. Such a fun word to say. So now that we have that cut off, we are going to fold it in half. So I'm going to fold it in half, not selvage to selvage, but length to length here. And we're going to cut open this fold. Now you could measure it, chalk it. A lot of times what I like to do is I'll weight it down and I'll hold my hand over here and I will just cut open that fold. So now we have 2 pieces of fabric here, and they're laying on top of each other. We're going to keep them on top of each other. So now what we want is our Zwank distance. So you want to reference your chart that you got, and my Zwank distance was 2 3/8 of an inch. So what this means is that I'm going to come in from one end 2 3/8 and the other end 2 3/8. This is like the magic measurement and positioning for this skirt. So I'm just going to use my ruler here and we're going to measure over 2 3/8. So I've got 2 3/8 in from the side there. And now I'm going to go kitty corner on a diagonal way over here. And we are also going to mark in 2 3/8. So now we have 2 points marked in the 2 3/8. And now what we want to do is connect these 2 points. So we're going to get a ruler. Actually, I forgot my ruler. George, you go get me a long ruler. We are going to match this point with that point, and we are going to make a cut all the way across our fabric. And we're going to use a ruler because we want to make it nice and straight. If you guys have any questions so far, let me know. If you guys have made one of these already, I would love to see it as well. You can always send it over on Instagram or Facebook or email. You could email it to us as well. Okay, so now what we're going to do is connect these 2 points. And there is our magic cutting line for this to work. Just gonna turn this around. You can always pin it, keep it together. And I'm using a flannel today, so the fabric's sticking to itself. Check this out. So now when we open this up, we're going to have these 4 panels. And we're also going to have a waistband. And these are the only pieces you need to put together this skirt. And again, the skirt looks like the little skirt behind me or the one I'm wearing today as well. So you're going to end up with all of these different panels that you can sew together to get a handkerchief skirt. And you'll notice that we don't have any leftover fabric. We are going to end up using all the fabric. How cool is that? Okay, let's grab our pieces. So after we end up sewing it together, you end up with this interesting shape. We have a rectangle waistband, and then when it lays flat, it's going to look like this. I feel like you could almost wear this as a cape too. It could almost be like a top. What do you guys think of that? That could be a fun top for fall, I think, too. Okay, so now let's get creative with some stitches. So the Epic machines have these really fun decorative stitches on them. You could sew sequins on your machine. Did you know that? You can also show you here, have these little like puffs of fabric. They're dimensional stitches, so they're 3D. So if we take a look at these, they've got all these little puffs of fabric on them. How cute is that? How cute would that be for a hem on something, right? And what a great way to use up scrap fabric, taking these little pieces of fabric and they get stitched in to these decorative stitches. And then I really had a lot of fun with all of the sequin stitches. I even found these hearts that didn't have a hole in them, but I tried it out to see if we could sew through it. You can totally sew through any of these really cool like foiled shapes. You can even buy these like big bags of all these different little confetti, basically, all these like confetti shapes. So you're not just limited to a circular sequin. I also had a lot of fun putting in these stars inside of the decorative stitch. Called for a round sequin, but you know, I like to get creative. So I tried the stars and they worked out great. Always thinking outside the box, right? Love this little floral one down here. So pretty. Then I tried out some more dimensional stitches. How fun are these? So I'm going to go over these with you guys because they can be a little tricky, how you position your fabric, what kind of fabric should you use. So today I'm actually using 2 different types of fabric. So on some of these, like this one down here, I layered the fabrics together. So I have a really soft tulle. And then I also have this really stiff netting. And I think it's really fun to take these and layer them together. Now, if you're cutting fabric for your dimensional stitches, I'm going to recommend 2 by 2 inches. You can always make them smaller as well. And if you're going to layer them, we're just going to layer them on top of each other. We fold it in half, but on an angle. And then we fold it in half again. And I'll go over that close up on the sewing machine as well. So you basically end up with this like little triangle of fabric that we're going to sew into the stitch. So you can select any of those stitches that are on there that are the dimensional stitches, depending on what machine, what Epic machine you're using. They could be in some different menus. I am using the Epic 3 today, and the dimensional stitches are going to be in menu H along with, let me see, I think H1. Those are applique stitches. H2? H2 is going to be the dimensional stitches with the little like puffs of fabric. How fun are those? Look at all the detail in those. I love these little bows. They're so fun. Okay, so we're gonna get some fabric in here. Let's do the little leaf design first. I'm going to do this little leaf design here. It's number 11 if you are on the Epic 3. You can always draw a line on your fabric if you want to make sure you're placing it straight, so that way when you start sewing, they don't end up on a curve way over here. So let's do that. Let's draw a nice line on our fabric so we have something to follow. So I'm going to draw about 2 inches up from the bottom. I'm just using a water soluble fabric marker. Okay, so I'm going to position it in the machine like this, and then we're going to add that stitch along this blue line here. So first, when you put it in, make sure you're engaging your needle down button. I've already engaged my needle down button, so I can just hit the play button and we can go ahead and continue the stitch. Now it's automatically going to stop when it wants you to add the little puff of fabric. Okay, and now we need to make sure we are folding that fabric right. So we're going to take our little square of fabric. We are going to fold it on an angle. There we go. And if you didn't cut it perfect, you know what? That's okay. You can always go back and trim it. And then we're going to fold it in half again. So we're ending up with this little mini triangle piece of fabric. So I've used netting today, but chiffon would also be just beautiful in this situation for these. Okay, so now let me make sure here. We are going to place the fabric to the right of the needle. Step on your petal and it tacks it down. After that, we're going to turn the project counterclockwise. So we are going to turn it like this. We're going to step on the petal again, and it's going to, oh, did I go the wrong way? Counterclockwise? I think I went the wrong way. Let's see. I do this sometimes. Oh, no, I went the right way. And now we're going to turn it to continue on our blue line. And it's automatically going to stop when you need to add that next piece of fabric. And then again, you're going to lift up your foot, place it right next to the needle. Basically makes a stitch going to the right. And then we have to turn our project. So let's make sure we're turning our project counterclockwise. There we go. Stop and then turn it back to that blue line so you have something to follow and continue. These aren't the fastest stitches in the world, but they sure are pretty. I think they're therapeutic. Sit down at the machine and create some beautiful stitches. For this next one, let's layer some fabric. So it's ready for the fabric. Let's add a couple layers. We're going to fold it on an angle. And then we're going to fold it again at that angle mark. So we're ending up with this little triangle of fabric. I'm going to lift up the foot all the way. And if you're having a hard time positioning it in there, you can always get your stylist to help you hold it in there and position it. Okay, counterclockwise. I'm always going the wrong way. Clockwise, counterclockwise. Okay, we got it. Okay. Let's add one more. Let's try 3 pieces of fabric this time. Let's do a pink, a green, and a pink. I think we could probably even get more fabric in there. Okay, let's stop there and take a look at all these and see the difference between them. Oh, fun. I like the one with all the poof. How pretty is that? Oh, caught that one a little bit. You know, happy accident. I like this going backwards like that and it just tacking down the very tip there. So I kind of think you could do it both ways. Very fun. So here is a look at all of those that we just created. So just one layer of green, one layer of pink, one layer of green, and then a pink, a green, and a pink. So you can really have fun layering some light fabrics with these stitches as well. Okay, let's get into some of these sequin stitches because I just think these are so fun. So let's try the little flower one first. So if you are in the Epic 3, it's going to be in the H menu, dimensional stitches, and it's H3. And if you want to do that flower one, it's going to be stitch 2. That's going to pop up on your screen. So I'll be using this piece of fabric here, and then we have a bunch of fun sequins. Some of the fun things about these creative stitches are all the fun little accessories you get to buy, like the sequins and the hearts and the stars. These would be really cute on borders on little kids' clothes as well, skirts or dresses. Kind of want to take a whole circle skirt and just cover it in these stitches. How fun would that be? Okay, so I'm going to do pink flowers, and let's see, what kind of center do I want to do? Let's do a purple center. That would be fun. Okay, so we're going to head over to the sewing machine here. I have my stitch programmed. Make sure my thread is under the foot. Again, make sure your needle down function is engaged. Mine's already engaged, so I don't have to press that button right now. So keep your foot on the pedal or hit the start button, and then when the machine stops, we're going to put in that sequin. So it automatically raises the foot up a little bit when I'm stopping on my machine with how I have my settings, but I want it to come all the way up. Make sure you don't hit it twice though, because if you hit it twice, what's going to happen is the needle is going to pop out of the fabric and we'll lose our position. So here's our fun little sequin, and we're going to place it to the left of the needle. I'm just going to use a seam ripper to position it in there. And then I'm going to step on the pedal, and it's going to stitch around the sequin, back and forth. I like to go slow when I'm going over that sequin, just because a few times I've had it like get the sequin caught in the foot. Also, using a B foot can help. I have the A foot on right now. So again, lift up that foot and put that sequin in. And if your sequin does get caught a little, just push it down and continue. Let's try a light pink sequin. Let's see what kind of fun combinations we can come up with. Oh, stay down there. No one wants to pop right out. Oh, went right in the center of the sequin. What are the chances that would happen? Oh my gosh. Okay, let's take it out. Push it down. There we go. Okay, let's try a green one next. So So let's check out some of those color combos. Fun. I ate that one. Those ones are looking pretty fun. I like the pink on the pink, but I'm a pink girl, so that makes sense. Try another one where they don't have holes in them. So these hearts here are really fun. Let's try a few of the heart design. So this one is just the scallop design with like a heart at the bottom of the scallop. So if you're doing this one, it's going to be number 9. And same concept, make sure your needle down button's engaged, step on the pedal. It's going to stop when it needs the piece. So with this one, you can really have a lot of fun with the different shapes that you're putting in here. You could do like a paillette. You could do a fun leaf. You could add this hollow heart, a solid heart. And you can see those solid hearts, they don't have any holes in them. You don't have to have a hole in it for this to work. You could also add a star here as well. Maybe we'll try one of each. We'll see how they all take so you can see them. Let's switch out our green heart for a blue one. There we go. That'll be a fun combo. So next time you're at the craft store and you see all those fun little pieces and you're like, what am I going to do with those? You can totally sew them to your fabric with your sewing machine. How fun. So we're going to place it right where the needle is, to the left of it. And if you're doing a heart, I just place the top of the heart right there where that needle is. Then it's going to sew down onto it, and then it's going to move forward. Let's try the paillette next. I will place that little circle by the tip of the needle. Once you get comfortable with this, it's a really fast process. I know it could seem like, oh my gosh, it's going to take me forever to do this, but it's really quick once you get the hang of it. I can see this making an awesome Mardi Gras outfit as well. These colors here are giving me Mardi Gras vibes. Okay, let's check out all those different shapes we added. How fun. Look at that. And now we've got them attached to our fabric. So if you are adding this to a garment, you really make sure you're hand washing these or using a delicate cycle so these don't rip off. This is just such a fun way to add a little pizzazz to a garment, wouldn't you say? So another really fun one is a star one. I want to show you this because it called for a circle, but we put a star in the middle of it. So I thought the stitching pattern looked like a star. That's why I wanted to add a star to it. See, we are going number 3, menu H3 still. So this one, same thing. Make sure your needle down button is engaged. We'll go down here in the beginning. It's going to stop when it's ready for a star or a sequin of your choice. So when I put the star in here, I'm going to make sure that I'm putting one of the indents of the star to the left of the needle. And again, you can use seam ripper, use a little stylus, get that right next to the needle there. And it sews over it really, really nice. Foot up. Make sure your sequin is also like the concave side of it is facing up, so that way you get the most sparkle out of it. We'll add one more. There we go. Let's check these out. How fun are those stars? Where would you guys add those to a project? I'd love to know. Leave it down below in the comments. So the Zwanky skirt is a great way to upcycle, use up your fabrics, save it from the landfill, and then on top of it, any little leftover scrap fabric pieces you have from projects, you can keep them and use them for your dimensional stitches. You can layer them up even, and they don't have to be sheer fabrics. You could use like a lightweight cotton, like a voile would be really nice, and you can layer up multiple layers, different types of fabric, little prints, and then you can sew them into the stitches. Now there's also applique stitches on there, which are great for these little pieces of fabric and scraps as well. So really thinking outside the box when you're creating garments to add special details with those stitches in your machine is so fun to do. And you can do it when the garment is finished too. So you can create the garment and then decide, do I want to add a little something extra to it? And, you know, hopefully the answer is yes. And you want to try out some of your fun stitches. If you guys have any questions, let me know. I am here to answer them all. I know one thing that happens sometimes, like you even saw the sequin got eaten by the machine when it went in there. If that happens, you can just seam rip that one out and then start again. Just make sure you're using your fix button, or you could be using your back stitch button as well. Because, you know, there are little pieces in there that are moving around, and sometimes they move where you don't want them to. Always, right? Of course. If you have any tips for that, let us know. I would love to know. Leave it down below in the comments as well.
Anastasia.
Yeah.
Before you go too much farther, can you show again the pieces on the Zwanky shirt? Just how they get, like which side gets attached where, or if there's a certain order that you should do those pieces in when you're attaching them.
There is. I have a whole like 20-minute video like all about it, like step by step. I would like really recommend watching the video. Do you guys need the link for it, or do you have it? I can put it in the chat if you need it.
That would be awesome if you could put that in the chat.
Yep, let me put it in the chat right now. I've got it pulled up right here. Okay. There you go. That should take you straight to the YouTube link that you can share with everybody. It'll go over cutting it out again too. And you know, it can feel confusing. I feel like the first few times I did it, I was like, am I doing this right? So check that out, especially if you're like sewing pieces of fabric together and making your own scrap fabric. You know, sometimes you can get confused. Which side is my length? Which one's my width? Just write on it with some fabric chalk so you don't get like too confused about it. Yeah. More questions?
I didn't see another question, but I did have somebody say that they are definitely going to be putting those dimensional stitches on their holiday gifts this year.
Oh, that's so cute. Like on a ribbon? Or I could see like putting it on like a ribbon almost. There is actually a package, like a gift package, dimensional stitch in there. I think it might be one of the applique ones. Let me see. Oh no, there's a sequin one. Looks like, so basically, let me see here. Where's our sewing machine? So this one, there's one that looks like a package and you put a sequin in it. We can try it out. Let's go over it real quick. It's good for holiday. So this one, it's got a little package with a bow on the top of it. So it creates the bow on the top first. And then we're going to put the sequin in the middle of it. We'll use green. Okay. Get that in there right below the bow, so to the left of the needle. Ah, don't come up. Oh. I love my foot pedal with all the different functions. Sometimes I step on it wrong, though. I'm sure that happens to everybody. I hope so, at least. Okay, let's do one more. I lift up my foot pedal on that one.
Ooh, the person who mentioned that she wants to put it on stockings or hats, like on the bands of them.
Oh, yeah, that'd be perfect. That's so cute. Okay, there we go. We got one in there. So this one, oh yeah, so this one, it makes like a little package with a little bow on the top. I guess you really want to use a square sequin for that. You can buy square sequin. If you do the package one, I recommend a square sequin. Otherwise, I suppose it looks like a, what do you call it? An ornament with a bow on the top of it.
That might be an applique stitch.
There might be one like that. The sequin one looks like it's got like a square below it.
Oh, yeah.
It must be square sequin. George, can we find square sequin on Amazon? We'll see if George can find some square sequin right now. No, I'm just curious. They sell them on Amazon. I know I've seen them before. Looks like it has a square sequin. But yeah, no, that one's like a little holiday one in there that I thought was cute. Yeah, these would be really fun for holiday. I agree. You can get square sequin? Okay, great news. You can get square sequins off of Amazon or probably any craft store. I don't think I have any in my box of sequin though. We have moons, flowers, hearts, stars, so many. They come in all the shapes, I swear. All the sizes too. Recommended size on this, I think, was it 3mm? I think those were the ones I was using, 3mm wide sequin. But you can use a little bigger or a little smaller. I found that it would work. Really depends on the stitch though that you're choosing on there. If you guys are doing these, I highly recommend just like testing them out first. Try different color combos, different threads. You could use like a thicker decorative thread in these, maybe a metallic thread. So really like play around with it, definitely. See what works for your project before you tackle the project, right? Yeah. Any more questions about the Zwanky skirt, adding dimensional stitches, sequin stitches, anything like that to projects?
Can you mention again what machine you're using? Somebody asked about that.
Oh, yeah. Today I'm using the Designer Epic 3.
But those, a lot of those dimensional stitches are available on many other HUSQVARNA Viking machines.
Totally. Yeah, I believe you can fill me in more on this. It'll say on the website under the machines, right? Like how many decorative stitches or what kind of stitches they come with?
Yeah, it should be on there, and most manuals and the machine itself. Obviously, you can see that on the menus.
Totally, totally. Yeah, they're really fun stitches. I feel like even like my opal machines we use in class, they have like tons of decorative stitches on them. And you can definitely like squeeze in a little sequin at the tip of some of those decorative stitches. Big difference is going to be that the machine isn't automatically going to stop and tell you, okay, put in a sequin now. You're going to have to watch those stitches and stop, put it in there, and then continue on. So it's going to be a little different, but you're creative. I know you can make it happen for sure. I feel like even the machines from like the 1950s have like the little scallop designs and stuff like that. And that's essentially all this is where I use the heart ones. That's just the little like scallop stitch there that it's like coming down into. For sure. More questions. What else do we want to talk about with sewing and decorative stitches and upcycling and saving your fabric and repurposing?
Somebody's asking if there's a download where you can do a pumpkin applique stitch. Somebody's wanting to know if you've ever tried that one. I actually have. I don't know if you have.
I have. It came out when the Epic, what's the hot pink one that does quilting? The 95?
Yeah, the 95Q or the 980Q?
Maybe 980. One of those, the hot pink one. Of course, I remember it was hot pink. I had the pumpkin applique in that one. Yeah, I've tried it before. It's like a big, like omni, not an omni stitch, but it's one of those really big decorative stitches. Yeah. It's cute. I've tried it. Definitely try it out. I have a question. Can you download additional decorative stitches from the My Sewnet?
I do not believe so, unless it is like I think it would only come for an update on your machine. I can
Okay.
check. I think it's just machine updates where they could add more stitches.
Cool. But what is cool is you can create your own stitches in the Epic 3. There's the program in there where you can create your own stitches. So you could totally be creating your own decorative stitches that you want to add sequins to. Let me find your menu real quick. It's over here. Not this and that. Building blocks. So you can use some of those building block stitches in there to like create your own stitches also where you might like want a sequin or some sort of tuft of fabric or something to be as well. You know, it would be fun too. I haven't tried it. I'm kind of thinking you could put feathers in where you're putting these little squares of fabric. I think that could be really fun. Has anybody tried feathers with their decorative stitches?
I want to now.
Yeah, right?
How cool would that look in the bottom of a skirt with all those feathers hanging down off the bottom of it? Oh, yeah.
It would be so cute. I know. I was trying to think of what else we could put in there besides like the little fabric pieces, like feathers. Initially, I went to pom-poms, but they're too thick. Yeah, feathers would be fun for sure. Any more questions? Machines, sewing, patterns?
I'm not seeing any more questions. It usually takes a few seconds to pop them up.
Sure.
Don't see any right now.
Well, I have kind of wrapped up about this Zwanky skirt. Again, there's a whole video about creating this. And then it is such a great way to use up your scrap fabrics. I've got this Zwanky skirt on too again, just to show you. So it is full, and you can choose the length. My short length, I think, is 18. I'm also very short, so I chose a shorter length. But the longer pieces are going past my knee. So you really get some different variety in shape, depending on how wide your fabric is and what size you're creating, which is fun. And again, you can make it with an elastic waist. Doesn't have to be a fitted waistband. You can totally do an elastic waist. Just use your hip measurement plus a few inches so that way you can step into it. So I hope you guys check out that Zwanky skirt calculator and the video for it. Make some Zwanky skirts, add some fun stitches to it, and tag me in your photos or send them on over. I would love to see your creativity for sure. Well, I think that about wraps it up for me, unless there's any other questions.
I don't see any more questions.
Okay, awesome. Well, thank you guys for joining me today, and have fun on your Zwanky skirt adventures.